gonna get right into it, so let's talk about it. Entrepreneurial spirit doesn't just like start with an actual brick and mortar building. It could be things that we do, like I make money online, you make money in the shop and clothes, and you make money on set, like you make money in a doctor's office. Like, how did that impact all of you?
One thing we all do, I think, is our culture or whatever like that. We always gonna eat, drink, we gonna buy clothes, and get our hair cut, do something fresh, be freshen up. So I mean, honestly, online went from like here to here. You know what I'm saying? So that didn't affect me that much. It was a little more difficult on producing new stuff. But like my other consulting, you know, with other brands and everything like that, like a couple of my major contracts stopped. To Simeon's point, it definitely had me get back to tightening up and not so flowing in certain things. You know what I'm saying? Being appreciative of the things that I know I have, and like I don't need another pair of sneakers. Right. You know what I'm saying? Or you know, it just brought home and everything together. Like you in the barbershop, like I got fluffy over the time. Like I really didn't care, hair growing, you know, facial hair or whatever, because we was just at home. You know what I'm saying? Any Zoom meetings that I had, I just put on the hat and kept it moving. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, you know, brush with it, you know, made sure we handle, you know how you do. It made you stronger. I think with the word of the pandemic was definitely pivot. Yeah. And so if you really took what pivot means, you know, if we take it in sports things, like you had to move, you just really had to have a different perspective of what was going on or whatever, and take what you got, roll with it, and it just really just made me build. Like I can't tell you, like a million different businesses has come from my head, a million different designs or how I'm gonna do this. So it's just flowing. I mean, I think it made me stronger. But I could definitely see how it could affect other people in other ways or whatever. But to the point is, I mean, I've been an entrepreneur, 20-some years. So yeah, you know, you have your hard, you have your high, you have your low or whatever. And I've been through the highs and lows. It's the reinventing. And so the pandemic definitely just, if I say, reinvented me as a better businessman.
You mentioned that, and it was two things you said that I thought was really important. And one, it was just that strength and that hustle spirit to bounce back and persevere through. But then you mentioned something else. You were saying you was at home.
Oh yeah.
I've never spent this much time in my house in my life, like ever. Not even as a kid. What was that like, being at home? But then also, how did you see all of this impact your friends and family?
Man, that's a loaded question. I think at the upfront of the pandemic, so at the time I was living with my in-laws, my wife just had a son, and at that point I moved out because I was the most at risk. I was fortunate enough to be able to find a spot to move out to, and so 6 months, you know, I was separated from my family, not necessarily being able to, you know, embrace my son the way I want to embrace him, as well as be around as much as I want to be around. And I was in an apartment, it felt like college. My wife kind of hit it with me, thinking I really liked the situation. But I think, you know, for those first weeks, I was like, just by myself. The emotional toll, and I'm so admirable listening to your entrepreneurial stories, because you guys are basically experts at that. You guys were ready for the storm. You guys were ready to pivot, and most people in our community just aren't like that, or don't necessarily either have the practice or in that situation to be able to buffer that like I can. And I think one of the hardest parts, particularly as a Black physician, is just seeing so much of your community present very sick on a regular basis, so frequent. And you juxtapose that with some of the history of our hospital system. It's like you're part of the system. You want to make sure that you're stopping any type of trauma that's happening to your community. And at times you're trying to figure out what you need to do to be able to stop that bleeding, stop those very difficult discussions. And when, you know, during the pandemic, you couldn't say hi to your family, you know, if you had to intubate them, you know, help put a tube down their lungs to help them breathe. The family might not have been able to see them at that point. Maybe FaceTime, you know, those things really build up on you. And I think I talked to so many physicians of color just how hard it was during that time to do that. Now we're in a different spot where we got the vaccine and things are coming down. But being at home and then also mixing it up a little bit now since I'm at the state was actually helpful for me because I didn't necessarily have to be in those situations on a regular basis, having those hard conversations, and just thinking about how it's impacting our community more than others. So it's been definitely reflective, and I think it makes you think about the priorities that different groups, different factions of our society have.
What about you, Loris? Was you had any changes in your impact with your family and friends? How it like hit you and any of that?
Yeah, most definitely. I think one of my favorite things that Doc said was reflective, right? I think the pandemic taught us something deeper and different about vulnerability, right? And more than anything now for me, the most informed decision is priority, right? And I think the pandemic put us in that pocket where it's like, I just want to make informed decisions, and so whether you're a leader of your household or whether you, at the gig, it's like you want all the information you can so you can know exactly what to do and how to move for you and your people. I thank God that I was on a show that had a machine behind it to put the money into it to make sure that we could go to work safely. We got tested every day. I'm probably, I ain't gonna hold you, I'm probably about 250 tests deep. So it's two different types of tests. You can get a PCR, which is like, they just go swab you up real quick, you know what I'm saying? And that result takes 2 days to come in. And then there's a rapid test that you do yourself. So you do like your own 15-second swab each nostril. And you know what I mean? And you get your test result, right? You in early morning, like get it in. And you get that test result in 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? You stand in the line, and it's kind of funny because you start creating your own communities within the COVID demonstration, right? So that rapid test line is its own little culture, and it's interesting. You know what I'm saying? It's like
You get your coffee this morning? Yeah, me too.
Right. And so the way I had to play it differently, right? Like NBC didn't tell us to stay in the bubble, but in my mind, I had to create my own NBC bubble. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You got to limit your locations. You got to limit the people that you interact with. You know what I'm saying? I had certain people in my family that only had access to me, and they were getting tested weekly. You know what I mean? Depending on who you're going to have around you. Because, like I said, it's the informed decision. Naturally, everybody who's connected to the gig, their revenue and the way that they feed their families, you know what I mean, is directly affected. So, what would shut a show down is if somebody like me walk up in there and, if I got it on me, you know what I mean, we probably all got it on us, and we're going to have to relax for a couple weeks. And, and that's everybody not getting checks for a while. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I took that responsibility very seriously. But what I did enjoy about that bubble space was that it helped me get closer to my craft. So I didn't have the distractions that I usually had every season, right? Like I get off work and I'm like, man, I might want to go get a drink. It was a long day. And then that drink turned into another spot, and then another spot turned into you waking up late in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And you really need that makeup. But but then, but just being close with my craft, it was just me. So I go to work, I'm coming back home, and I got these lines that I'm leaning into. And I found myself getting better at it. You know what I'm saying? I felt like Dame Lillard a little bit. You know what I mean? When he was in the bubble, I'm pulling up from the half. You feel me? And so that's what I did appreciate about it. Like you said, is that reflective piece. You know what I mean? I was able to prioritize. Add some skill sets and get better at the skills you already have. You decipher your strengths and your skills because it's a difference between them. And yeah, bro. So in a lot of ways, grateful.